I've followed you for all of these years. You've had staying power. So you have Full House. You're known for that. How did you deal with that? Or what advice would you give to somebody who's at that stage?
When Full House ended, I was 18 years old. I worked for a couple more years, but then I got married at 20 and had my first child at 22. So I then was out of the business for 10 years while I had kids. So I took a 10-year break. And then I came back in my early 30s. But yet you're coming back in a new position as a new revelation to people. I had wanted to continue doing it. So that's why I feel like the little engine that could, because there's just been so many roadblocks along the way, I can't even begin to tell you.
I would think being gone that long, at least in my case, I've struggled with my confidence most of my life. You know, even the things that I'm good at, when I don't do them for a while or I'm starting over again, did you come back like I can, like with confidence, or did you have to do something to rebuild that confidence again?
I'm a fake it till you make it in the confidence kind of girl, more than I care to admit.
Welcome back to the show, you guys. So this week's really special for me because I'm actually fanboying here a little bit.
Really?
Yeah, actually a lot of bit. And so the woman to my left, she's an entrepreneur. You all know her from Full House. She's an actress. She's a producer. She's a best-selling author. She's an amazing wife. She's got all kinds of incredible things going on. Found out she's making tons of movies that we're going to talk about still. And so I cannot wait to pick your brain about your life because it's been so interesting.
Great.
By the way, she's so nice and humble in person as well. So Candace Cameron Bure, welcome to the show.
Thanks. Thanks for having me.
It's great
This
to
is
have you.
fun.
You know what I wanted to ask you first, because the audience is, everyone listening or watching today, they're all at some different stage of their life, probably trying to make some type of a dream come true. And I've followed you for all of these years. You've had staying power, but you've had to remake yourself, right? And so what would you say to somebody, or how did you do it, where you have one thing in your life and then it kind of ends? So you have Full House, you're known for that. I mean, that's a big deal, and then that's over. And for a lot of people, I think their career or something they've done and achieved becomes their identity.
Right.
And so there's a lot of people today that just, something's ended. You know, maybe a marriage has ended, a business has ended. Maybe they're an empty nester now, their kids have moved out. And so they're at this stage of life where something new's beginning, but something just ended.
Yeah.
How did you deal with that? Or what advice would you give to somebody who's at that stage?
I feel like the little engine that could. I have a drive, and I think there are a lot of people that are motivated with that, and sometimes you just don't know what the first steps are. But I've always been a driven person, and if you have that drive and you're like, my life's not over, there's so much more living, there's so much more to do, whether you've been in that field before and had success, or you want to try a whole new field, I'm the encourager to say, go do it. Go try it.
Do it again.
Who cares if you fail in the process?
Wow.
That's all part of the learning experience, right?
Yes. That's easy to say, though, don't you think? I mean, if someone's just had, well, like in your case, was there ever a dark period of your career, or did you just go from project to project? Like when Full House ended.
When Full House ended, I was 18 years old. I worked for a couple more years, but then I got married at 20 and had my first child at 22. So I then was out of the business for 10 years while I had kids. So I took a 10-year break.
Wow.
And then I came back in my early 30s, and it was a whole new thing, because while there was success, I was a kid. I was on television. I mean, I've been working since I was 5 years old.
Wow.
So from 5 to 18, but on Full House from 10 to 18 years old. Then you come back as an adult, as a 30-something-year-old, and you have to remind people why they liked you,
Right.
what you did, but yet you're coming back in a new position as a new revelation to people, as you know, there's some qualities that are the same, and yet there's maturity that's gone on that you have to tell people, you know, hey, this is who I am today. And so I had such a love and passion for the entertainment industry and storytelling, and I had wanted to continue doing it. So that's why I feel like the little engine that could, because there's just been so many roadblocks along the way. I can't even begin to tell you.
Well, maybe we'll talk about a few. That's interesting you say the little engine that could, because I would think being gone that long, at least in my case, I've struggled with my confidence most of my life. You know, even the things that I'm good at, when I don't do them for a while or I'm starting over again, did you come back like with confidence, or did you have to do something to rebuild that confidence again?
I'm a fake it till you make it in the confidence kind of girl. Okay. I feel very nervous and I lack self-confidence often, more than I care to admit. I really wish that I was that person that could boldly walk into a room with confidence. And yet I've just motivated myself to fake it.
Wow.
And so I'm the girl that like would have huge, I still do. I got the big armpit sweat stains because I'm like leaking through my clothes with nerves. And yet I have that little drive that's like, you can do this, Candace. You can do it. Just do it.
Wow.
Go for it.
I'm so grateful that you would share that, because I think most people in your position, I've had a lot of people in the entertainment business on the show, I think sometimes they think they have to like reveal perfection for people to think they're somehow. We almost look at celebrities as if they're different than us, when in fact, I've got to know through doing the show, they're just us, right? Totally. But I think a lot of celebrities sort of posture themselves as different than us and as special. You don't seem to have the need to do that.
I just want to be myself. I don't want to walk through life being anyone else. I don't. When you have, whether it's an ego or there's a boastfulness, there's a pedestal and a standard and that you have to live up to.
Isn't that true?
And who wants to do that? I don't. I would much rather boast in my failures and let God shine through of what he carries me through to do.
I love that. That was you're kind of doing the interview for me to some extent, because I think there's certain people when you meet them, I'll just give you a compliment, that I think you see what I call the Holy Spirit on them. You see light in them when you meet them. And when you meet them, you're almost like, I'd like to have that in my life too. And right when you walked in here, because we've not met before today. I mean, I know a bunch of people that know you, and likewise, we have mutual friends. But right when you walk in, there's a lightness to you in both ways. I mean, light, not heavy, meaning you're pleasant to be with, but I mean, you bring a light, God's light with you. Has that been part of your recipe of maybe when you don't believe in Candace necessarily, you do know that God's always got his hand on you?
Oh, 100%. I know that God is walking with me every single step. That's where my confidence lies. Absolutely. Yeah, when I lack confidence, I know he has confidence and he's going to carry me through.
Same here. Just went out on stage.
Yeah.
And if it was me alone, there's I don't know how many thousands of people out there. If I were out there alone, I'd be really scared and nervous because I know how inadequate I am. But I know he can carry me through that.
Yeah.
One thing I respect about you, and I'd like you to speak to this if you don't mind, it's kind of a serious thing too. You are pretty bold about your faith. I would say more than pretty bold. You've been bold about your faith, about expressing what you believe in. And a lot of blessings have come with that. However, so has criticism.
Yes.
And there's people listening to us today that wherever they are or want to speak up about something. It could be their faith. It could be some injustice they see at work. It could be something political. And here's the truth. Most people don't because of fear of retribution or criticism or hate. And you seem to be such this gentle, kind soul. But when it comes to the things you really believe in, it's like, get out of the way. I'm going to tell you what I really feel. Has that been something you've had to deal with criticism from it, right? And how have you?
The word I've disliked most that I've heard back from people, it's not even people, but it's the people in positions of power that can determine the things I do and don't do in the entertainment industry, is the word polarizing. And I just hate it. I'm like, okay, well, she's too polarizing. And so that's just been a word that I laugh out now, but my faith means so much to me. I can't leave it at the door when I walk outside of my home. It goes with me everywhere I go. And all the things that I do in my life, from my heart, I want to do them for the glory of God. I know I'll fail in many ways in doing that, but that is my greatest intention. And I care more about what God thinks about me than what people think about me. And that's a lesson I've had to learn over the years. That doesn't come naturally. I'm very much a people pleaser. Yeah. And yet God has given me, because I believe in the Bible. I believe that the Bible is true. And when I read the words that are written, I believe them wholeheartedly. And so when I read from the words of Paul, and he talks about considering that it's great joy to face trials because it produces endurance. And also talks about endurance producing proven character, and character producing hope and the joy that we have within us. I believe those words to be true. So I want to live them out and rest on that hope and assurance. And that is what gives me, I guess, the confidence or strength to just say, I'm going to be unapologetic about this, because guess what? I'm not facing you when I die. I'm going to be facing a holy God when I die.
That's so beautifully said. Has it cost you a bunch?
It has.
What's it cost you, do you think?
It's been incredible in some ways.
Yeah.
So not to just focus on the negative, it has. I didn't go into the entertainment industry thinking, hey, I'm going to use my Christianity to get ahead.
Yeah, right.
I think anyone that goes into that is crazy, because it doesn't necessarily get you ahead. It's probably will put you 2 steps behind, because it costs a lot more than usually helping you out in your career. However, I've had many blessings from it, because I was bold in my faith. I co-hosted The View for 2 years. I mean, that was already 10 years ago, but that was a position, that was a position I never thought that I would have done, to be a co-host on that. And yet, it has cost me things. It has cost me contracts, partnerships, relationships, friendships. Really? I've been, dropped by companies, and have lost out on interviews and even parts as an actor, promotional things, because here's that word, I'm too polarizing.
That's such a strange word for such a nice person, you know? I wonder what it's like. So were you raised in your faith? Because your brother's also bold about it. I assume you're both raised with faith. Is that true?
Yes and no.
Well, you hesitated there.
Yeah, yes and no. So the first time I went to church, I was 12 years old.
Oh, okay.
My dad was not a believer.
Okay.
And my mom was a believer. And my parents, when I was 12, almost got divorced. A friend had them go to marital counseling together through the church.
Okay.
And that was a big deal, because my dad was basically an atheist and was like, you guys can decide what religion you want to be when you're 18. I don't want religion. So when we started to go to church as a family, I became a believer at 12. But again, growing up in my home, my mom was a believer, loved it, was encouraging us. We would go to church, and she would talk about God to us. But my dad was never there. My dad is a Christian now.
Great.
And he's been a Christian for a long time. But I don't think, he became a Christian really until I was probably 25 years old, something like that.
Okay. So this was something you sort of ended up building on your own. I mean, through mom.
I really did.
Through mom.
Yeah. Through mom, but just at 12 years old, I really had a deep desire to know God once I was told about him. I'm like, there's a God out there that created the world and loved me, loves me. Yep. Like, that was exciting.
Yeah, you know what? I think you're so right. I think everybody does.
Yeah.
I think everybody wants to know why they're here. Now, people have come to different conclusions and different answers for themselves. You and I have reached the same conclusion.
Yeah.
But I do think that's the primary question of life.
Yeah.
Why am I here? Where do I go when it's over? And everybody should be exploring that for themselves instead of having the noise of the world distract them all the time. I'm curious for you, because most people have never had what you've had. You're so humble, but you've had a life in many ways that's one that people would dream of in some senses, but it's just a very unique ride, meaning this, incredible fame. Right, you're on basically the #1 TV show on the planet that is a decade long. To this day, probably you can't go anywhere where there's just raving fans who feel like they know you. And you had all this hit young. Then it goes away for a while, kind of, I would think. And then it comes back in droves. Now you're making 4 or 5 movies a year again, which we'll talk about in a minute. What is fame like? Because so many people want it, right? Like most people want some level of fame. They're obsessed with how many likes did I just get on my Instagram account. So everyone, it seems, not everyone, but so many people are chasing some sort of adulation outside of God's or their own families. What's it like? Is it what it's cracked up to be? How's it? What's the negatives and the positives?
Yeah, well, some of the positives of fame, I think the number one thing I think about is influence. You have influence over a lot of people.
Great point.
What you use that influence for determines who you are, what you want to put out into the world. But what an opportunity. To have fame equals influence is very powerful and can be used for so much good. The opposite can be true as well. You know, being famous, typically, if you have good people around you, can mean financial security. You know, that helps with life.
Sure.
But the negatives, I would say, to fame is lack of privacy, and people don't realize what that feels like until it's gone. You know, some of us, and I say this myself, like I love social media. I love sharing with people, and some people share a lot of their life on social media. However, when things get shared about you that you did not give permission for, or photos are released, or things are said about you, that lack of privacy, whether it's online or in person, people following you, wanting something of you or your time because they feel that they deserve it and you need to give it to them because they feel a certain way towards you, even though you don't know this person, but they feel like they know you. It's a strange place to be in, and you just don't know it until you experience it.
So the other night, my daughter's home from college. We're like, hey, let's have a great, healthy meal. And guess what? We did, and it's because of Butcher Box. I'm so grateful we found Butcher Box. I'm so grateful they sponsor the show. Right now, if you're leaning in, you want to feel stronger or clearer, a little bit more put together before the summer sneaks up, it starts with what you're eating. But for me, I want to eat healthy, but I want to enjoy the food too. You want results, you want energy, but you want it to taste good. Butcher Box focuses on clean protein raised right because you are what you eat. Butcher Box delivers over 100 premium protein options straight to your door. It's all responsibly raised and thoughtfully sourced, so you're not guessing about what's on your plate. So, as an exclusive offer, new listeners get their choice between chicken wings, sirloin tips, or ground beef for life, plus $20 off when you go to butcherbox.com/Mylett. That's right, your choice of chicken or top sirloin or ground beef the rest of your life, plus $20 off your first box and free shipping always. That's butcherbox.com/Mylett. Don't forget to use our link so they know we sent you there.
It's really true because you grew up with notoriety. My form of it, however I get it, happened much later in life as like a middle-aged guy, and it's shocking. I think it used to be cooler to be well-known and famous before social media. So the only thing I disagree with because of what you just said, it's the never-ending things that can be said about you that are out of your control.
Yeah.
And so it is a very different thing, but it's branding, notoriety. It's almost, business has almost become to me, it used to be, who do you know? Now it's more who knows you.
Yeah.
You know, it's much easier to get marketing done and branding done and attention for projects. So it's a double-edged sword for sure. So you, speaking of projects, I didn't know any of this about you until I started prepping for the interview. My son is the producer, and so he's like, Dad, this woman is fascinating. Look at these successes she's had and these different things she's done. And I didn't know that, and I apologize for that. But
Don't.
Oh my gosh, like you're a legit big-time entrepreneur. So I want to talk a little bit about that because I'd say if there's a career path that's most common with my show, it's probably entrepreneurs or someone taking initiative in their life. They're taking control of their body or their finances or something like that. And so you've been successful in many different businesses, you and your husband. But one of them I want to talk about just because I think it's cool is the wine business. So
How the heck does that happen, Miss Christian girl?
I know.
Now that we're talking about alcohol, so like, let's
That
hear
one,
about this.
honestly, I'm happy to talk about it, but it's really for my husband.
I know that, but I want to make.
That's he runs that. So my husband was a professional hockey player. He was in the NHL for 12 years.
Yep, great player.
And when you're a professional athlete, you usually have to have a second career. And my husband was drafted by the Montreal Canadiens, so we first lived in Montreal. He's from Russia, and he came here at 17 years old. And when we were living in Montreal as a very young married couple, he was exposed to great food and wine for the first time in his life.
Such a great city.
And so we are big foodies and enjoy great wine also. And so as Val played the years through hockey and was starting to think about what is my second act, what am I going to do once I retire? He knew immediately he wanted to be in the food and wine industry. So we actually had opened a restaurant at one point, had that for a couple of years during the last 2 years of his career. But we had been to Italy, we had been to France, fell in love with the wine region, and then we went to Napa Valley, and Val said, this is it. And there was a lockout year in the NHL. So that lockout year, nobody was playing. He came to Napa Valley, spent the year during harvest and making relationships, understanding, just learning the whole business, spent about 8 months. So that when he was ready to retire, he said, this is what I'm going to do. And did it. And I just know my husband. He is a very driven person. He is also an Olympian. And I say that because Olympians have a whole different mentality in terms of a standard that they can accomplish that I'm like, normal people just don't have that kind of dedication and commitment. And so I know when he puts his mind to something, he will do it 110%. And so he's like, this is what I want to do. And I was like, fantastic. Let's go do it.
Well, so there's two of you in one relationship then, right? So like there's two like mega achiever doers.
Yes.
And so you've got businesses, he's got business. You're also like, you're really busy. How long does it take to make a movie, typically speaking?
Well, for television movies, because I produce all of them. So it's about 5 to 6 months from start to finish. So that's finding a script, prepping the movie, which is about 3 to 4 weeks. The shooting is the shortest part of it. Okay. We're shooting these movies in 15 days. Are you really now? Okay. And then you have a post, which is about 12 weeks or so.
Okay, so listen to this, everybody. You're doing like 4 or 5 a year.
Yeah, I have 5 movies this year.
Oh my gosh! So you have 5 movies, businesses. He's got a business. Kids, you're now an empty nester. Is that right?
Our youngest still lives at home, but my kids are 2 are married, and they're all adults.
Okay, so a lot of people wonder this. Like, plus you got church life and this stuff, and we're both speaking at the same event here today. It's a fair question. By the way, sometimes people say, well, women get asked this more than men. I ask the same question to men. Like, how the heck, like, do you have a system of how you hold all of this together, a way of being? Like, that's bananas. That seems to me like, like she got here, you guys, like, just so you know, FYI, she was here 10 minutes later, bam, we're sitting down doing the interview. When the interview's done, bam, she's up on the stage. Like, it could be out of control, but it seems to not be with you.
No, I have an incredible team of people.
Okay.
And so I have a company, Candy Rock Entertainment, and I have 2 incredible business partners. And then we have our team that works for us. So I had to learn how to delegate because of that drive that I have. And once I learned how to do that, I'm like, oh, I don't have to be the ringleader and master of all things at all times.
Okay.
And so that's how I manage to do it. But I have a great team that helps put the schedule together and make sure that I'm prepped and ready to go. But I do my homework. I do the work, but I couldn't do it without my team. And I would say the hardest part is balancing home life. My marriage is incredibly important to me as it is my husband. And so we make significant priorities in our relationship to be together because we both travel a lot as well, but to be together, to stay connected, to have the conversations, to be physically together with one another in person and not just talking on the phone or FaceTime. I mean, that is a key priority. And that is a key priority within my team, that they know that sometimes we have to say no to things, because if I need to be with my husband, that takes priority over everything else.
What's it look like, though? Like, how do you do that? So is it a scheduling thing? Or
It's
like
scheduling thing. It's we kind of have this 2-week rule. We just made that up. That's what my husband would say. It would be a 2-day rule if he could have his preference. But because I travel and I go away for a movie for a month, we don't like to be apart for more than 2 weeks. So he'll come up to visit me. As soon as I come home, I just kind of know that, hey, once I come home from something, I need 2 weeks at home. I need substantial time to nurture our relationship and keep it going. We've been married, it's going to be 30 years in
It's Valerie,
June.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. What a great player, by the way, too. Congratulations. That's a long time.
Thank you.
Yeah. And you seem very much in love still. You had dinner
are.
last night with a friend of mine, and he's like,
Yeah.
yeah, they're still whooped. That's so cool, though. That's so
Yeah.
awesome. What do you do? Do you have any rituals or things you do to hold it all together? I know you have a prayer life, clearly.
Yeah.
But you appear to be in great shape. So, like, what do you do to keep this whole thing, this train, moving all the time? Do you have some daily rituals or habits that you would share for super busy people?
I'm in the gym every morning or out for a walk. My fitness is incredibly important. I'm also turning 50 this year, and so I want to do all the things that will make me feel my best going into the second half of life.
Yeah.
God willing, I live to 100.
Yeah.
So fitness is important, and that clears my brain. It helps me mentally focus, and so I schedule and prioritize my fitness time, and it's like an hour. It's not crazy. And I would say my prayer life is very big in my Bible time and focusing on my time with the Lord, because I'm not walking my life for me. God's given me my life, and He's entrusted me to live it out. And so I got to check it in with Him daily. God, is this what you want me to do today? Is this the plan that you would have for me? Is this the road that you want me to walk on? Is this the decision you'd like me to make? I have to check in with Him about everything, because it's really His life that He's given me to live out.
Can I ask you something personal on that? I think people that hear that sometimes, especially if maybe they're new to their faith, or maybe they don't have faith yet, and they hear something like that, and they say, so what, like she hears voices? And I mean this sincerely.
Right.
What? How? Because I've asked a lot of believers this. How is it that you get an answer? Is it you feel something? Do you think you audibly hear something? Is it just your discernment kicks in and there's a sense of direction or certainty about it? I think a lot of people would really be interested as to how that sort of plays out or manifests itself with you.
Yeah.
And probably over your life, you've become very accustomed to whatever that sense is that you have.
Yeah. And I would call it that. It's a sense. I do not hear God's voice audibly. Wish I would. I haven't. But a lot of times it's what we feel when we feel our conscience. You can feel conviction. Maybe your heart pitter-patters a little bit faster. Maybe your palms get sweaty. Sometimes there's a physical reaction in that way. But it's, when you walk into a room and maybe it's scary looking in there, there's something in your being that says, hey, the red flags are going up, or the hair on your arm stands up. Hey, this isn't right. It's kind of the same feeling. So when I'm praying and I'm talking to God, a lot of times, again, I don't hear a physical voice, but sometimes I don't necessarily hear anything. And to me, that just means it's a go. There's no red flag coming up. So if I'm praying through this or have a decision to make and I'm saying, God, this is what I'm going to do, I said, tell me if you don't want me to. And if I don't hear anything, then I go, great, it's a go. When I feel something that I go, I'm going to halt, I'm going to stop, I'm going to think about this some more, it's kind of that reaction of your conscience, or just when you get a red flag, maybe it's in your gut. It can be anything. And then the most important part, because then I know all of us can say, well, this is the answer I really want, so I'm just going to make myself believe that this is what God wants too. I'm going to convince myself of it. We can all so easily do that. So then I actually have to look in the Bible and make sure that decision that I'm making, hey, does this go against anything that God would say for me to do? Is this go against God's word? Would God not be pleased with this? And can I find an example of that in the Bible? That's how you self-check.
What's been the hardest part of your life? You seem to have such a rich life right now. I look at you, I think, it seems like she's got unbelievable family life, her faith life, her career's kicking butt. She's in great shape. She's about to turn 50. She seems very happy. But everybody goes through a valley of some type. When was yours, or what was it, if you don't mind me asking?
I feel very, very blessed in this. I mean, I just do. And I'm so grateful. I have so much gratitude. I mean, I would say one of the, I have a couple times. I mean, there's been personal life things. Even within my marriage with Val, 30 years, you go through ups and downs.
Sure.
We've had some valleys in that area. And
wow,
professionally,
your face just changed right there.
Did it?
Oh yeah, it did. Absolutely. Okay.
Yeah.
Please keep going. But your face definitely changed right there. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm so grateful that we walked through that valley and we came back up, because it's just, that's been the biggest blessing, And I would say professionally, we talked about it a little bit, but some of the hits that I've gone through, it's when the media's narrative is very different than reality, and your character is thrown into the garbage. That very much happened to me about 4 years ago, and it was just it was a very difficult season for me, and I still feel the ramifications of that today, although not nearly as strong, and I've kind of walked through it, but it took a major hit and a blow.
I'm unfamiliar. Did you take a stand for something and got some heat for it, or?
Yes and no, but yeah, I always hate talking about it, because then it gets brought up.
We'll cut it out. Cut it out.
It gets brought
Easy.
back up, and it's like, we want that to go away.
Okay.
Yeah, there was, I left, I was with the Hallmark Channel for 15 years, and then I left to join the Great American Family Channel, and also had an opportunity to help this channel grow, became their chief creative officer, and it's a place where they focus on movies of faith, and that became important to me. And during that transition, there were headlines as to why I left that weren't true.
Got it.
And so they just ran a narrative that was completely untrue, that really focused on my faith, but in the most negative ways, and things, again, not true.
Gotcha.
So that was devastating, because you can't, once you try to defend your own character, you can't do that. Other people have to defend it for you, or you just walk through it.
Yeah.
And yeah, I had to take a time out of God, how do I deal with this? How do I handle this? Because it hurt.
That's sort of what I meant earlier with the digital age and social media. So things can get out there, and then the noise of the negative is never, ever. It's never as noisy when the clarification happens or when the truth comes out. The noise of the negative is always more than the positive, it seems like.
Well, it is. It is 100%. And you also can't, once someone's convinced of something, you really can't change their mind. I mean, we see that in politics.
Yeah, that's for sure. Yeah, I stay off of that topic most of the time. Yeah. So a lot of this surrounds your faith, though. So a lot of what we talked about today is around faith.
Yeah.
Curious. I feel like my faith is a relationship with God, right? And so in all candor, I've told my audience this. I've always been a believer. But like any relationship, like you talked about with Valerie, by the way, when I said your face changed, it was almost a look of thank you, God, for pulling us through this, because I love this man so much.
Yeah.
That was the look that I saw. But I definitely saw a look.
Yeah.
And in many ways, it was a beautiful look. But the sense of thank you for whatever that time was pulling us through it. You're so grateful. But I wonder, have you ever doubted your faith or had ups and downs in it? Has there ever been a time where you were at a low and you're like, God, why are you doing this to me?
That, yes.
Okay.
But I've never doubted my faith.
Okay.
And again, I don't say that boastfully, but
Sure.
I just because things aren't going my way has never made me feel like, God, you don't exist, or, it's the age-old question, why does God allow bad things happen? Why do bad things happen to good people? And I know that there's just some mysteries that we won't know until we see him face to face. But so I've never doubted my faith. I can't look around the world and just creation in itself and not and ever believe that this all happened by some explosion randomly in the world. That doesn't connect with my brain. So I've never questioned God's existence, but I've certainly had times where I'm like, God, why? Like, why this? Why would you allow me to walk through this, or that person to walk through this? Or why isn't there more relief in these areas? And I know that God's not scared of any of those questions. He goes, ask them.
Gosh, you're good, Candace. So one thing I've noticed about you, we don't have that much more time, but I develop these theories when I talk to people. And one of the things that I believe about successful people in general is that there's not a lot of conditions to their beliefs or their performance. Let me tell you what I mean. The best athletes I've ever been around, their effort is unconditional, meaning that if they're up 25-3 or they're down 25-3, they're still giving their best. I think the best marriages that I've watched, it's not always conditional on how the other person is behaving or their partner is acting at the same time. Faith, it's not conditional on whether life is going the way you'd like it to at the time. In other words, I believe in God when things are going great, not so much when they're not. And so as I watch you, one of the things I think I admire in this short time is that you seem not to be a conditional person, meaning your marriage isn't conditional. Your career isn't conditional on everything lining up or everybody liking you. Your relationship with God doesn't seem to be based on conditions suiting you all the time. Is that a fair thing to say, and do you agree with that?
Yes, very fair. I absolutely agree. I mentioned Paul in the Bible, the Apostle Paul earlier, and I love reading the books that are in the Bible that he wrote because I look at such a faithful man that loved God so much, and yet his life only got worse. The amount of abuse and torture and beatings and jail time up until death, and yet he became more and more humble throughout his entire life until the very end of it. And it is inspiring to me. And I want to run the race well. That is what's most important to me. I look at the life that I've been given, and I think about, oh, God, if you give me 100 years to live, I want to run it well, and I don't want to get to the end and peter out. I don't want to get to the end and say, what was it all for? I want to run the race with joy and encourage others along the way to do the same, and run with passion and heart, knowing that my arms are wide open and God's are wide open, going, come on, come on. I'm the finish line. I'm the finish line. I'm the medal. I'm the goal. Like, that's the race for me.
Come on now. What are you trying to do to me right here? That is so beautiful and so good. Can I give you confirmation on something?
Yes.
You're going to trip out right now. And then I'll ask you one more thing. I probably should finish on that because there's no way it's going to get higher than that.
Okay.
But I got to ask you, I actually felt that, like, in my body.
Aww.
That was awesome. But I got to tell you, so yesterday, I had some free time. I took this survey. There's this online survey, and you answer all these questions. And then at the end, it tells you what person in the Bible you're most like. I'm like, I wonder who I'm going to be. I was Paul. Isn't that interesting? And then
Yes.
you bring that up of all the people on
Yeah.
the show. That means this is like prophetic
Yeah.
interlude here in our conversation today. Of course, I'm far more screwed up than even that Paul. But I was Paul, which was cool.
Yeah.
Okay, that beautiful thing you just said
Yeah.
about running the race and that God's the medal and God's the prize.
Yeah.
Let's say someone's listening to this right now and they go, I want to run the race better. And what a beautiful conversation the two of you have had. And if I ran into Candace at Starbucks and I said, I heard you on the Ed Mylett show, and the last thing that you talked about was running the race and getting the medal. I wish Ed would have asked you, where do I begin? And so I'm going to ask that question on behalf of them to finish. If someone's saying, I want to do that too, I want to run the good race, I want to get at the end and well done, good and faithful servant, what would you say to that person who says, where do I start? What do I do next, Candace?
Yeah. The very first place you start is right in your own heart, wherever you are, in that room. Close your eyes, get in a peaceful place, and just start talking to God. And you might not know what to say to God, and you can tell him that. And say, God, I want to run this race, and I don't know where to start. Could you lead me how? Could you show me? Would you please set my heart and my mind on a path towards you and to knowing you? And I think it is about relationship. You said that earlier. It's a relationship, and you got to spend time with God. Now, I could tell you a whole bunch of resources that will enhance that, but you got to just start with the person you want to get to know better and start in prayer towards him. And then I would encourage you to read the Bible. That is the most important place. And then again, there's a million podcasts and all types of ways in which they can help you read and understand context within the Bible, and going to church and having a Bible-believing teaching church. All of those things are great enhancements and are important, I believe, in a biblical sense within community. But it really starts with your heart and you talking to God.
Gotta tell you, I've always been a fan of yours, but I really respect you after meeting you. I respect
Thank
your
you.
boldness, what you stand for,
Thank you.
and what you believe in. You're pretty damn awesome. Seriously.
Oh, thanks. I'm blushing.
No, this is truth. Where do people go find you? What should they be looking for to be more connected with you? Where should we send them?
Well, I am on socials.
Let's do it.
Candace C. Bure on Instagram and
Okay.
all that. I also have a podcast, the Candace Cameron Bure podcast. So you
hoping
can
you say that.
just throw that in your podcast catcher. And then you can find my movies on Great American Family Channel.
Find my movies. I wish I could say that line. Find my movies. Today was awesome.
Thanks.
Thank
This was
you.
great. I very much enjoyed talking to you.
I loved it. All right, you guys. I don't think I have to ask you on this one, but you should share this episode with somebody that you love, that you care about. What an extraordinary conversation. God bless you all. Max out.